Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of one of history's most influential books on strategy. I mean, really influential. Sun Tzu's Art of War.
Compiled, what, over 2,000 years ago? By this, well, mysterious Chinese warrior philosopher.
Exactly. And it's not just some dusty old military text. Its ideas are actually keenly studied today by, modern politicians, top execs.
Oh, absolutely. And really anyone looking for an edge in life, right?
Right, that's right. So our mission today is to kind of cut through all that time and pull out the most potent nuggets of knowledge, the real insights from this ancient text for you.
Yeah, we want to give you a bit of a shortcut, make you feel genuinely well-informed on the core ideas.
And more importantly, show how these concepts, the ones usually applied to battlefields, are surprisingly relevant to your everyday challenges, your goals.
Hopefully you'll have some real aha moments, get a fresh perspective. We want to show you how to use this ancient wisdom in modern life, but without it feeling overwhelming.
Totally. And it's key to remember, I think, that the art of war has these deep roots in Taoist philosophy.
Mm-hmm. That system emphasizing harmony, balance, aligning with, natural forces.
Which is probably why its central theme, maybe paradoxically, often points toward winning without fighting.
Which is such a profound starting point for a book about conflict, isn't it? Okay, so let's dive right in. First principle from Sun Tzu: the power of strategic preparedness and foresight.
Yeah, this one really hits home today, with everything changing so fast. Sun Tzu hammers this idea of being aware of danger, destruction, calamity before they even show up.
It's about cultivating this deep knowledge of the underlying principles. So deep that you can actually turn disturbance into order, danger into safety.
Destruction into survival, calamity into fortune. It sounds almost magical, but it's about deep understanding.
And what's really fascinating is how he describes the brilliant general. This leader, he says, must see alone and know alone.
Meaning they see what others don't and know what others haven't grasped yet.
Precisely. It leads to this kind of strategic genius. They don't just react, they actually win first. They make themselves unassailable, their attacks irresistible. They're shaping reality before others even figure out what's happening.
That idea of seeing alone and knowing alone, it's powerful. In our world, just flooded with data and noise. How do you think someone cultivates that? Is it just intuition, or is there a system?
Well, it's probably a mix, right? Intuition plays a part, sure, but Sun Tzu implies this rigorous discipline, observation, analysis.
So systematic study, but also a calm, objective mind.
Exactly. And conversely, he points out the big mistakes. Generals who can't assess enemies properly, or they take on too much with too few troops.
Weakly attacking someone stronger or not having specialized forces. Those are paths to defeat.
Right. And Chen Hao, one of the commentators, puts it nicely. Good generals are not committed to death, yet do not expect to live. They act in accord with events.
Not quick to anger, not subject to embarrassment. It's about being incredibly calm, adaptive, not reckless.
So, okay, how does this ancient stuff translate into something useful for your life right now? This isn't just prep for your meeting.
No, it's more like cultivating a strategic intuition, designing the win before the fight even starts.
Right. So imagine you're leading a new project at work. A brilliant general wouldn't just plan for things going well.
They'd have already spotted, maybe, 3 potential market shifts or competitor moves months ago. And they've quietly built contingency plans.
Yeah, it's about securing your position, getting that advantage way before any big overt action is needed.
Okay, so if preparedness is about securing your own position, Sun Tzu then argues that the foundation of that security is actually your leadership itself.
Ah, yes, which brings us neatly to our next principle, the essence of leadership: virtue, cohesion, and discipline.
Master Sun lays it out very clearly. He says leadership is a matter of intelligence, trustworthiness, humaneness, courage, and sternness.
And these aren't just, nice to have virtues. They're practical pillars for actually leading effectively.
Intelligence, for instance. Dumu, commentator, said it's the ability to plan well, but also know exactly when to change course. That's pretty crucial in any dynamic situation, right? Battlefield, boardroom, whatever.
Definitely. And trustworthiness. Wow, commentators like Dumu, Wangxi, Mayao they all stress this. It's absolutely crucial for getting obedience, loyalty.
It means people are sure about rewards and punishments. There's a predictability, a fairness.
Exactly. And humaneness.
Yeah.
This isn't about being weak. It's this deep love and compassion for your people, really being aware of their struggles, their toils.
He even says good generals tearfully console the wounded, mourn the dead, sacrifice themselves. That builds serious loyalty.
The kind of loyalty sternness alone could never achieve. Then you've got courage, obviously seizing those moments for victory without hesitation.
And sternness, yeah, establishing discipline with strict punishments. But it's not just about the leader as an individual, is it?
No, not at all. The text really emphasizes cohesion. When superior and subordinate are in harmony, equally brave in battle, that makes for strength.
Without that unification of wills, he says, even 1,000,000 troops are useless. It's about the collective mind.
Spot on. And this unity, this cohesion, it's reinforced by fairness. Mayao puts it starkly. When people deserve reward, note it, even if you personally detest them.
When they deserve punishment, don't skip it, even if they're close to you. That impartiality, regardless of personal feelings, that builds real trust.
So think about how this applies if you're leading a team at work, or maybe managing a big family project, or even just guiding your own personal growth.
These virtues are absolutely vital. You need them to inspire loyalty, build real unity, actually achieve what you set out to do.
Effective leadership, really in any context, builds that trust. It creates a cohesive unit, whether it's your colleagues hitting a deadline, your family navigating change.
Or even just your own habits working together towards a goal. It's about being the kind of leader people want to follow.
Okay, so we've built this strong, cohesive unit. Now, how does that unit operate when facing opposition? This takes us to the art of adaptability and unpredictability.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Sun Tzu's famous line, "The military has no constant form, just as water has no constant shape adapt as you face the enemy."
Right. The idea is to be formless yourself, no fixed target, because that forces your opponents to try and guess what you're doing.
And they set up a formation to counter what they think you'll do, which divides their forces while yours stay concentrated, fluid.
And this fluidity is tied deeply to deception. That's a core idea here. Wang Zhi, another commentator, gave this whole list.
Oh yeah, when strong appear weak, brave appear fearful.
All that. Orderly appear chaotic, full appear empty, wise appear foolish, and so on. Advancing appear to retreat, moving quickly appear slow.
In one place appear to be in another. The goal is just to sow confusion, right? Make the enemy totally unprepared, unable to guess your real move.
It's like playing chess, but your opponent just cannot predict your next few moves. They're always reacting.
That like water analogy is great. So what does being formless mean for us? In a competitive situation, maybe at work, or even personally?
Well, it's about keeping that strategic flexibility, that element of surprise. Victory, Sun Tzu says, isn't about just repeating what worked last time. It adapts endlessly.
Dumu talked about swift and shattering movement when attacking, like lightning.
Exactly. Be so dynamic, so unpredictable, that your opponent can't lock onto a single strategy to counter you. You exhaust them mentally, spread their focus thin.
So, okay, think about navigating a tough negotiation, or maybe the job market, or even just a personal conflict.
That ability to be flexible, maybe conceal your true bottom line for a bit, adapt your approach. That's key.
Yeah, don't be rigid. Use a little misdirection. Keep them guessing while you move towards your actual objective.
Yeah.
You control the tempo, the battlefield, maybe without them even realizing it.
And that leads us to perhaps the most, well, profound and maybe counterintuitive principle in the whole book, winning without fighting, the ultimate strategy.
Right, this is where that Taoist core really shines through. Peace over conflict. The highest victory, Sun Tzu says, is subduing the enemy without fighting at all.
Ideally, an enemy nation comes and surrenders of its own accord. That's the pinnacle.
The goal is to make your adversaries lose their spirit, their direction, just through better strategy, maybe influence, leveraging how things are already trending.
Winning by the Tao, by the natural flow of things, not just by brute force.
And a really crucial part of this is that idea of not pressing a desperate enemy. That's quite profound.
Master Sun's principle, yeah. Symbolized by the hunter leaving one corner of the net open. Why?
Because a cornered opponent fights with inconceivably deadly force. They have nothing left to lose.
Exactly. So giving them some kind of out, even a small one, means they don't turn into these bitter diehards fighting to the absolute end. It's understanding psychology.
It really reframes winning, doesn't it? And it's amazing how it merges strategy with, well, humanitarian ethics. You wouldn't necessarily expect that.
True. Sun Tzu's stated aim wasn't really to encourage war, but to minimize it, curtail it.
He explicitly says, "A nation destroyed cannot be restored to existence. The dead cannot be restored to life." It highlights the irreversible cost. Avoiding conflict is superior.
So how does this huge idea, winning without fighting, play out in your world?
It's about resolving conflicts peacefully, right? Relationships, business deals, community stuff.
Finding those creative solutions where the other side can save face, keep their dignity, fostering collaboration instead of just crushing them.
Real power isn't just destruction. It's maybe subtly shifting the environment or their incentives so that fighting just doesn't make sense for them anymore.
Yeah, disarming the situation by offering a golden bridge out instead of backing them into a corner leads to a much more sustained win, usually.
It's like strategic empathy. Okay, our final principle for today looks at something very practical: energy management and wise action.
Yeah, Master Sun is very clear about avoiding prolonged fights. He says it will dull your forces and blunt your edge.
If you besiege a citadel, your strength will be exhausted. It drains you.
He uses that powerful analogy. War is like a fire. If you do not put it out, it will burn itself out. It highlights that drawn-out conflicts, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, they just deplete everyone involved.
Exactly. So it becomes about timing and conservation of your own energy. Good warriors avoid keen spirits, he says.
Instead, striking enemies when their spirits are fading and waning. Conserve your strength. Strike when they're weak or worn out.
You eat to your fill and wait for the enemy to starve. You stay put comfortably and wait for the enemy to tire.
You keep perfectly still and wait for the enemy to stir. Strategic patience. Mastering your own mood, your own energy, waiting for the right moment.
And a huge pitfall for any leader, or really anyone, is unchecked emotion. Sun Tzu warns starkly, one day's anger can destroy your whole life.
Oof, yeah. A superior person, he says, is stern but not ferocious, worried but not fearful, joyful but not overjoyed. Their actions are based on objective assessment, rational strategy.
Not just fleeting pleasure or anger. That hits hard, doesn't it? We've all had those moments. A quick emotional reaction that just derailed something important.
So timeless, that warning. Okay, so what's the takeaway for your daily life here?
Well, this principle really hammers home managing your personal energy, your resources, knowing when to push, when to rest, when to engage, when to pull back.
Avoiding burnout, basically. And seizing opportunities when others are maybe tired or unprepared.
Ultimately, it's about keeping a calm, stable mind, mastering the heart, as the text says, and making objective calls, not getting swayed by momentary anger or excitement.
Strategic patience and, yeah, self-control above all.
So we've taken quite a journey through Sun Tzu's Art of War today. It's amazing how these insights, from ancient battlefields offer such a practical guide for life now.
It's really not about being aggressive just for the sake of it, is it? It's about being effective, being wise, strategic in pretty much everything you do, turning potential problems into opportunities.
Indeed. Like that saying, if you understand the way in great depth, you will find the same principle in all things. Think about how these ideas we talked about.
Strategic foresight, compassionate leadership, that fluid adaptability.
Winning without fighting, managing your energy wisely. How can they genuinely transform how you approach challenges, relationships, goals?
Yeah. So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe ask yourself, what changes will you make? How can you bring your actions more in line with these, ancient but still incredibly relevant teachings?
How will you cultivate that quiet foresight, that calm leadership, that adaptability, that ability to win by influence, not just force?
And that mastery over your own energy. What shifts can you make to bring about, great peace in your own world?
Thank you for diving deep with us.